Hey there, folks. Welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art, and culture. And this is a bit of an odd series of reviews, I gotta say. They don't really fall under any particular theme. It's been a little bit scattered. Felt like it's been a while since I've done one of these comps proper, but now to the matter at hand. It's on the Pulse. So before we go any further, if you'd like to like and subscribe, I would be extremely grateful. Hell, share this around too. These sort of compilations, they rarely get the circulation that you would expect, but hey, it's always worth watching, especially if you're not into the more short-form content. You like something a little bit more digestible in one sitting. But now onto the matter at hand. We got 8 projects on the docket. Let's start off with, from Tim Hecker, No Highs. So Tim Hecker is reportedly annoyed with folks hopping into the soothing, streaming-ready background ambient music for a quick buck. That's not how he works. So after the film scores and his albums exploring Japanese gagaku music, he's got this, and it's his best album since Virgins, making his point through discomforting rhythms, swells of staccato discordant synths and minor chords, and Colin Stetson layering in anguished, menacing saxophone to match the creaking strings, the uneasy organs, and the creeping growls of distortion. This is a project that's built to alienate and unnerve. Regardless if you want relaxation or crushing climax, you're not going to get either. And it's a testament to some great compositions that I still found this really compelling. Now, it doesn't reach the epic power of Rave Death or the expansive introspection of Virgins. Again, still Tim Hecker's best work in a decade. Excellent stuff. Check it out. From Hot Mulligan, Why Would I Watch? So I'm later to the party on Hot Mulligan than I probably should be. I wasn't all that impressed by their early work. Solid emo writing let down by some compositions and production to be beholden to 2000s pop punk. Not quite as sticky as I was hoping, but 2020's You'll Be Fine was a big step in diversifying their sound and was pretty solid. This doesn't quite have that theatrical diversity and opts for more throwback 2000s pop punk. Not bad given their gift for melody, and when you look at a lot of the lyrics and themes, it's a stark and visceral examination of some of that nostalgia, both in its comfort and the anxious pain of how past traumas and assumed mistakes can drive them into their own current miseries. Now, it's not better than You'll Be Fine. Some of the scattershot maturity, the awkward sequencing, the abortive tendency to end before their best hooks explode, some of the vocals. But if you want a throwback with some proper teeth, it's pretty damn good. Check it out. From Rory, I Thought It'd Be Different. So this is a bit odd. An R&B compilation from Rory Farrell, previously known as the co-host of the Joe Budden podcast, manager of Emotional Oranges, and probably most relevantly behind the scenes at Sony, which allowed him to forge relationships to get Conway the Machine, Ari Lennox, James Fauntleroy, Fonte, Reason, J Electronica, and so many more. So it's like an old DJ Khaled compilation, but for R&B, with Rory as curator, co-producer, co-writer, and it's really solid. It fosters liquid but textured, organic guitar-driven R&B in order to create moody but sensual, dramatic but balanced relationship scenes that are colorful and complicated and mature, just up until they're not. It's a very versatile vibe. Now, I don't love all the synth tones and guitar tunings. It is languid to a fault. Some of the melodic hooks could be a little tighter, but I do see the vision, and it brushes up against greatness. This is going to be slept on this year. It shouldn't be. Check it out. From Billy Woods and Kenny Segal, Maps. I'm not surprised with this as Billy Woods' most critically acclaimed album to date, especially with the shorter song structures and the most accessible, airy production that he's ever had, as Kenny Segal's beats shamble across glitch, ramshackle elegance, and even some jazz. And when every guest star from Quelle Chris to Shrapnel to Danny Brown to even Elucid deliver, this is overflowing with the sort of textural detail and character that makes Billy Woods' anonymous, paranoid misadventures endlessly fascinating and quotable, where his knowing, downbeat paranoia in the face of a lot of gentrification, surveillance, and bad weed, it's then tempered by flickers of enjoyment, wry humor, and this longing emotional core to come back home. Now, it is a winding, structurally fragmented album. Ideas can feel a little bit abbreviated, which is why it's not his peak for me, but it's absolutely his easiest project to revisit and showcase. Still great stuff. Check it out. From Kaytranada and Amine, KAYTRAMINE. The second I heard about this collab, I was really excited. Kaytranada has this bubbly, bouncy production that was sure to complement Amine's quirk and humor, and when you stack the album with Freddie Gibbs, Pharrell, Emre, Big Sean, and Snoop Dogg, you're set up for a killer summer album. And yet, it feels like less than the sum of its parts, mostly because I don't think the duo brought their A game. Kaytranada's production is predominantly the main issue, moving away from house for more conventional, desaturated rap beats where the interludes actually showcase more melody, texture, and color than the proper songs. I mean, Amine's fine, lightweight, occasionally funny and quotable, but I think the hooks are underwhelming, and the project winds up really patchy and insubstantial. It's a vibe, it's got moments, songs I like, the guests all show up, and often show up Amine, but it should be way better than it is. I would call this a disappointment. Just saying. From Wednesday, Rat Saw God. This is one of the most critically hyped indie rock records of 2023, blending in noise rock, 90s alternative, even country, and yet like with many throwbacks to 90s indie, between the disaffected or underwhelming vocals to the shaggy, unkempt compositions, I just don't hear what makes this so special or unique. I mean, it's better produced than many Bandcamp acts that are strip mining the sound, but adding in some of that polish without compositional tightness blunts any of their edge, and the pedal steel, it's welcome, but feels kind of superfluous. Now, the lyrics are the biggest draw. The brutal, detailed southern decay full of poverty, drug abuse, and death shown with a wry, ironic distance to stay sane. But I don't know, where country or Midwestern emo would more empathize, this raw, observational mythologizing of mundanity, it sidesteps the emotional punch for me. I mean, it's fine. I get why this can work, but it ran together fast, it didn't stick for me. Take it or leave it. From Bailey Zimmerman, Religiously, the album. You know, for as much as Bailey Zimmerman has been painted as chasing Morgan Wallen, with his breakthrough EP and now this album, it's clear the parallel might be superficial at best, more in his nasal drawl, a couple vocal inflections, and the conflicted relationship melodrama. But on this project, Zimmerman is casting a wider net, pulling on more darker, bluesier Americana, cribbing even some chord structures from 2000s post-grunge to amplify his angsty, neo-traditional country, with a surprising amount of pedal steel and fiddle. That being said, it is very telling they bucketed the best singles from the EP onto this album, because outside of them, a decent country rock Johnny Cash cover and a couple deep cuts, this feels like a very shaggy debut that could use a little more focus, lyrical detail, production refinement, and probably a trim to get rid of some of the one-dimensional filler. I mean, I like this guy more than most. There's a lot of promise here, just not there yet. Still worth hearing. Check it out. From Sleep Token, Take Me Back to Eden. Yeah, not gonna make many fans here. For me, by now, Sleep Token's a gateway pop/prog metal act, spanning the most dreary of modern prog metal, gent, and post-rock, with some of the most gentrified R&B and trap touches since 2015, going into a lot of sounds, but not executing them with much distinction, for which apparently a lot of the fans give them a free pass. And since this is now longer, leaning on more multi-part compositions, you get even fewer melodic hooks, even more painfully stiff grooves, and with the frontman's processed, throaty caterwauling, and lyrics where even if you've bought into the lore, the cloying romantic melodrama feels both oversold and thematically underweight, conflating bad relationships with occult worship. It's a note that Sleep Token is driven into the ground by now. It just feels like a drippy, faux edgy slog that's a lot less interesting than it thinks it is. Look, I get the appeal, it's just not really at all for me. So yeah, once again, thank you all so very much for watching. If you'd like to like and subscribe, I would be extremely grateful. If you guys have any albums or projects that you'd like to get on my docket, well, you're going to be on pause for that because the schedule is closed until early July, but hey, you want to support the channel beyond my merch or my Patreon, it's right over there, and where you do get access to help supporting me and to my Discord server more directly, at least until when July opens back up and you get albums on my schedule. Beyond that, though, well, I do have a longer video essay in the works. I'm targeting early June to make sure it gets out the door. It's probably going to be the longest video essay I have put out to date. It is really quite involved, but hey, when we get there, we get there. Until then, I'm Mark. You're watching On the Pulse on Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.